and then 10 minutes in, I realized it was Bleach.
Welcome to another episode of A Seriously Casual Perspective. We're Seriously Casual on Proudmoore Alliance. I am your host, Ben. I'm joined by Brian and Matt. Say hello, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
And this is the podcast where we talk about WoW and anything else that strikes our fancy. Alright, we've been talking a lot about like gameplay and the actual feel of pressing our buttons, but we mentioned a couple of episodes ago, Matt, you brought it up, the story of Shadowlands being particularly bad. And I brought up that the story of WoW has been trashed since Cataclysm. I wanted to dig a little bit more into that, because genuinely I do believe that the Aspect story, the snubbing of Deathwing as a cool villain, all and everything since then, with a couple of exceptions, has been really, really bad. I know, Brian, you're not usually a story guy. You're a notable cutscene skipper, as they've been called.
Yeah, got into fights with some of our gillies about it.
Yeah, but I mean, at least you know vaguely what's going on, I hope.
Yeah. There's like dragons.
Yeah, see,
Sylvanas did something with a tree.
Yeah, there we go. But do you remember what happened in Cat at all? I wanna quiz you. What was the story from Brian's point of view? What happened in Cataclysm?
Big dragon of Deathwing showed up, fuck shit up.
Okay, honestly, spot on. You fucking nailed it.
Yeah,
because that's really all that happened.
Yeah, then we kicked his ass, and then Thrall came in and finished him off and took all the credit.
Yeah, fucking. Do you guys remember? I'm sidetracking now, but do you guys remember the Green Jesus meme?
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, I loved that shit. Because I hated Thrall as a character. I still kind of do. But I think that the Green Jesus meme was one of the funniest things that ever happened in this game. I love Metzen. I think his stories are cool. It's like that old nerd style of storytelling. But God, was Thrall way too center stage in Cataclysm.
Yeah, he was like the only dude.
Times.
Yeah,
but that being said, I think that the ending was trash, right? And they're kind of retconning it now in Dragonflight, because the Aspects are like, we're no longer Aspects, I guess, and then never explained why or how or what the hell even fucking happened. And then now we're kind of undoing that in Dragonflight. But I think especially big villains have never come close to Arthas. I think that the Warcraft 3 into Frozen Throne, into Wrath of the Lich King Arthas storyline is WoW's best story. Like, if they were ever going to make a TV show, a movie, anything like that, you got to use that story. I'm sure you guys have seen the Henry Cavill as Arthas pictures floating around the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I'm fucking in, dude.
Dude, I'm
obviously it's not
looking
happening,
at it.
but I'm in. Well, not happening at this moment.
Right, but I think that is genuinely their best story. And it is really good. I like the Illidan story in Burning Crusade. And Vanilla, I mean, the game wasn't built to have a story. It was kind of just a hodgepodge of shit that was going on.
Yeah.
So I think that's fine. That it gets a pass for teething issues. It was still in its infancy. But especially from Cataclysm onward into Mop, I think Garrosh is probably the best one that they did, because he was at least kind of interesting as a villain, but even then his motivations were, orcs are cool, orcs are the best, fuck everyone else.
Yeah, very straightforward guy.
And then in WoD, it was still just more orcs, and then the Legion showed up, and Archimonde... Who the fuck is Archimonde? What does he actually do?
He is a little guy who gets up to no good.
I would not call him little.
I mean, he is literally enormous, but he's sort of like a little guy, and he gets up to no good, and he's stealing people's cereal.
I don't think that's true. You know what? But he might as fucking well be.
Do I get a second guess?
Yeah. You know what? You get two.
He is trying to stop He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
That's probably more accurate. But for context, I got really, really into the WoW lore until about WoD, right? When I took my first break, like big break from the game. So I knew like everything that was going on. I was reading the books. I was reading the retcons. I was going back to the Warcraft 1 and 2 lore to figure out what was happening there. So I know way too much about this shit. So watching them kind of, I wouldn't say trample all over it, but kind of ignore it and just pretend it's not happening, and instead they tell a news story is really frustrating from somebody who likes the WoW universe. But then I feel like Brian, I guess especially to grab your perspective on this, you started in Wrath, so like you kind of didn't have the. Did you play Warcraft 3 at all? I guess I should ask that first. Yeah, so you didn't have the background. I feel like, and this is me psychoanalyzing you a little bit, I think that because the story's been kind of ass, you've ignored it this whole time. Is that right? Do you think I'm on the money there?
I disagree because I don't like story in almost any game.
You know, that's fair. I was going to get into some other stuff in the future. We'll get into that in a little bit. I think that with WoW specifically, they ran out of ideas after Arthas, and we've been kind of spinning our wheels in the mud. But to move on from WoW a little bit, because I was going to get into other games. Brian, I guess I'll start with you. Is there a story in a game that you can remember liking, like that has broken through your barrier of not caring?
Tales of Arise is doing an okay job at the moment.
All right, I haven't played that. Let me know what goes on. Give me a rundown.
Basically, this dude who has massive amnesia appears. He wakes up in a slave camp, and then he's like, okay, I guess I'm a slave, I guess. And then he proceeds to do slave stuff, and he gets like tortured and stuff, and he doesn't remember shit about who he was before he was a slave. He also can't feel pain. I don't know what the medical condition of that's called, but he can't feel pain, so that's cool, I guess. It's not, anyway. And then he decides, like, yo, fuck the police. I'm over this shit. So he proceeds to try and escape. Insert insanity shit here. Hot anime chick shows up, who can't be touched because she creates lightning out of her body, ? But he can touch her because he can't feel pain. Wink. Wink.
Ah, I get it.
The story progresses with them two effectively fighting to change the status quo.
Gotcha. It's a JRPG, right? The Tales series.
Fuck yeah, it is.
Okay, so it's
moly.
It's very JRPG in your opinion.
It's been westernized, but
okay, so
it's still very JRPG.
It's pretty new, isn't it? Isn't it like a year or two old?
Yeah, barely a year, I think. Actually,
yeah, I think less than a year, maybe.
I am pretty sure less than a year. I'm almost confident.
Time flies.
For real though.
All right, because originally I was gonna flavor the question kind of as what your favorite story was, but Brian, you've mentioned it in games. I should specify, but I will ask that question to you, Matt. What is your favorite game story?
Gosh, it really does feel like a bit of a cop-out because it's so recent, but I love Elden Ring's story, or for some, the lack thereof. But I am a sucker for almost all FromSoft games, like storylines, where they're just like, I don't know, here's like a vague sort of thing happening around you that you'll pick up from context clues alone, and maybe the occasional 60-second cutscene. If you really want to get into it, I don't know, pick a favorite item and read the flavor text. And I like getting to discover exactly as much as I want, and doing a lot of speculating with my friends, and figuring out maybe little secrets that they don't necessarily tell you but are heavily implied. I kind of like I like that a video game is letting me engage with the story rather than being like a cutscene and then I walk to another cutscene and then I walk to another cutscene. I hate when games do that.
Do you think you could describe what you hate as being spoon-fed?
Probably, or at the very least, it feels weird when I'm ready to put the controller down and go, okay, like this game is very cinematic. It wants to show me a story mostly with a little bit of engagement. And then it goes, okay, now pick up the controller again. You have control of your very cool character, and you take 3 steps. And then they literally start another cutscene, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, if you just want to show me the cutscene, just show me the cutscene.
Resident Evil, dude.
Oh, dude, I was gonna put a pin in that, but dude, you're talking about Resident Evil 8, correct?
Yeah. Oh my god, dude.
Yeah.
You would go. I hate this, dude. Grab your guy, get a cutscene, and the cutscene's cool, right? You're
fucking cool.
Yeah, and then you take 2 steps. Why the fuck bother? And there's another like lamer cutscene. Like,
dude,
oh, dude, I hate it. I'm with you. I hate that.
Oh god, yeah, no, I hate it. Like, my god. Like, I as a kid, I really like now with like actually activating my fucking brain cells. I played Resident Evil 4 and I actually really like that story. It was again, out of like the 10 game stories I remember, maybe. So it's top 10 for sure. And that's why I was like, oh yeah, new Resident Evil, like I'm in, let's go, let's play it. And then I got through I shit you not even an hour. And I was like, nope, I'm done. And it wasn't like, oh, the game's too hard or like it's a bore. No, the gameplay is actually fucking wonderful. The issue is, yeah, like you said, every fucking like 4 steps there was like a huge cutscene. I'm like, dude, I've been playing an hour, 20 minutes has been cutscenes.
Oh, dude, I'm kind of with you. Especially because, I mean, I like Resident Evil 8, but its story wasn't that good to, like, really draw me in. But I was going to ask you guys if there's a game you guys have played that has been ruined by a bad story. Like an otherwise good game that you would have fun with that you had to stop playing or otherwise, like, even after you beat it, you hate it and don't want to replay it because of what happened.
Gosh, I feel like there's got to be something that's a real standout. I've definitely had some stinkers where I'm not excited to go replay them, but I'll replay them for like the gameplay, like the actual gameplay. Like I wasn't in love with the Cyberpunk story, like Cyberpunk 2077, but like I'll admit it's probably fine. Like I'm sure it accomplished its goal, but now I only want to go back to just kind of play Cyberpunk, you know.
I'm with you there. I think with Cyberpunk 2077, it had like the pseudo Bethesda effect, where there's this main quest that's really urgent and that really grabs you because they want you to do it, but there's also a ton of side content that's really fun, but there's this weird dissonance between should I go and do the main quest and kind of blitz the game or enjoy this fun side content. Like they give you some walls where it's like, yeah, this guy is going to have to wait a day to get back to you, go fuck around and have some fun, but then you're right back on almost rails, because it's not forcing you to, but it really feels like it is.
Dude, Fallout 4.
Oh, dude, okay, I'll let you go first. Fallout 4 gets me hot.
Fallout 4 was like, okay, it was like game of the year. It was like king of shit mountain, right? Like that's what I hear from normal people, or not normal people, from the majority of people, right?
Can you restate that? My brain isn't smart enough.
It's like it was very well received, right?
On release, I think everybody loved it. Like it was pretty clearly a 9.5, 10 out of 10 for a lot of people.
Yeah, like I think until a lot of people really started to sit there and think and be like, okay, like a lot of these like dialogue options don't really get me anywhere, and all the ones that do get me somewhere get me to the same place no matter what I pick. So like I think until they really started having time to like pick it apart a little more, I think for the most part people liked it.
Okay. Yeah, I hated it.
Dude, I felt like a lunatic. I felt like the only sane person in the insane asylum talking about how bad Fallout 4's story was. It made me so mad. And I'm a boomer gamer, right? I played the CRPGs. I played Fallout 1 and 2. I played Baldur's Gate when those were big. I was huge Neverwinter Nights fan. And now Larian, the game studio making Divinity Original Sin 2 and Baldur's Gate 3. Like, I'm super happy that style's coming back. But that aside, I loved the Fallout universe, that style of storytelling, and Fallout 3 came out, which is where I actually discovered it. Like most people, I played Fallout 3 first, and then I went back and played the other ones. And then Fallout New Vegas came out shortly after Fallout 3, and that is my favorite game of all time. I love it. It's kind of a normie answer, but I think that is genuinely the best game ever made so far. It is so much fun just because of what's going on, the people you get to interact with, because the gameplay in that game is actually really bad. It's kind of shitty. The gunplay is sort of awful. And Fallout 4 improved a lot. The gameplay is a lot more fun. The gunplay is fun. The sneaking mechanics work better. The crafting system's great. But what happens, and the people feel like cardboard cutouts just to get me from point A to point B, and it set me through the fucking roof whenever I was first playing that. I got so mad whenever they were like, yeah, you're spoilers for Fallout 4, I guess. I don't know, it's 8 years old now?
They'll figure it out.
Yeah, spoilers for Fallout 4, so I guess if you really care, then whatever.
Yeah, spoilers for any game you hear us talk about this.
Yeah, for content, you know what? If you want spoiled on a game, I'm gonna say its title at least before I say anything. Just know it's not safe. I'm gonna talk about everything.
Danger.
Yeah. But when Fallout 4, when Father, they called him fucking Father for one, which tilted me. So dumb. Whatever. Comes out and is like, yeah, I'm your son. It's been 80 years. And now you're in charge because I'm gonna die of disease. And that's just what's gonna happen. That's just what, and you just have to accept this. And that son that you thought was your son, but isn't, it's actually a fucking robot. Fuck you. You're not allowed to have anything nice. Like, it was such a bad twist. Because the entire game was building up the Institute as being, like, irredeemably evil, right? Like, they're mad scientists. They've gone insane. Everyone would be better off if they were dead. And the gut punch was supposed to be, but your son that you never interacted with is in charge of them, so are they really all that bad? And I don't know about you guys, I'll let you take the floor in a second, but my first thought was, yeah, they're still fucking evil, and I immediately sided with the Brotherhood, because they were the fastest way to fucking nuke these idiots. I don't know, because you both played it, right? I'm assuming. Yeah, okay. Matt, I'll let you take the floor then. What are your thoughts on that twist specifically, at least?
I was Fallout 4's target demographic in that the moment they said, hey, there's some base building and some very basic resource gathering you can do, I went, oh, then nothing else matters. And I proceeded to just do that and that alone, and if a quest got in my way, I would do it so that I could continue gathering things and base building. That's all I wanted to do.
Gotcha.
So by the time I got to that, but by the time I got there, I was just like, yeah, whatever, Sean. Wrap it up, bud. I gotta get going. I got a lot of duct tape I gotta take back home, bud. I know you got like robots or synths or whatever, but Mama's got some duct tape, so.
All right, real shit. I'm gonna jump in. Synth is a hard word to say. So for those that don't know this about me, my tongue is too big for the rest of my mouth. I've undergone a lot of speech therapy to get over a really bad lisp. Saying the word synth makes my skin crawl. I hate it. Bad word. Get it out of here.
Yeah, Fallout 4 for me was very... here's some stuff, kind of cool, I guess. Did you do your homework? What? What do you mean, did I do my homework? It's a single player game. Is there a daily grind in this? The village needs you!
Another settlement needs your help,
Another
brother!
settlement needs you! Why are you here? And then your like sidekick, who you can choose who it is and all that crap, which is that was cool. But they would like shit talk you every 40 seconds. I'm like, wow, can you just stop talking? Because at first it was funny or like cool or whatever, right? Like depending on the companion you chose. But every time they ran into anything, and I mean fucking anything, or like walked by an NPC or the fucking wind blew, they would have a fucking snarky remark, and I'm like, dude, it's been 20 seconds. Calm down. That was irritating.
Dude, like I said, that game sends me over the moon. I think genuinely, and I don't think I'm the only one, but I might be the only one of us, so you guys tell me if I'm wrong, that game instantly becomes like a 9 to 10 out of 10 classic if they just called it something different other than Fallout. Change the proper nouns. It can still be in post-apocalypse Boston after the nukes fell. There'd be some comparisons to Fallout, sure. But if they just made that game and called it duct tape and shit together, then it would be great. I would love that game because the gameplay loop is great, but that game pisses me off.
I don't agree, but that's only because that's the only Fallout game I've ever played, so I have no attachment to the universe.
That'll definitely do it, yeah. What about you, Matt?
I don't know. I definitely have that opinion of other games and other series, but I think I'd be fine. I think I would have been more happy if they would have called it Fallout, colon a title, instead
if it was like a sub.
of feeling. But I don't know. Like Fallout 3 was certainly a big departure from Fallout 1 and 2, but I don't know. It and New Vegas still felt very good. By the time we got to 4, I wish they would have just called it, something else. Just like, yeah, and here's a side project that is still kind of in the main line, but like it's not supposed to be a direct sequel or anything. It's just more Fallout, have fun. Just like New Vegas, it's just more, have fun. I don't know. I think if it was just called something else, I still would have enjoyed it. But I love Fallout's charm, you know.
I can't disagree. Like that retro future charm is really great. But I'm gonna bring it back. Now I've given you some time to think. At least for Matt, because Brian, you brought up Fallout 4. Is there a game you can think of that was ruined just from its story?
I think maybe Fable 2 is maybe that game for me.
I was actually going to jump in because Fable 3 was the one for me. But
I didn't make it to Fable 3 because of Fable 2.
Oh no. Okay, alright. You do 2, and then I'm gonna pop the fuck off about Fable 3.
Sure. I know a lot about Fable 3, so you don't have to fill me in, but for the audience, I definitely want to hear your opinions on it. But for everyone at home, Fable is the reason I bought an Xbox back in the day. It's the only reason I owned all 3 consoles when I was a young lad. The reason I saved up all of my allowance and Christmas money and birthday money and stuff to get an Xbox was just to play Fable, and I loved it. I still love it. I replay it minimum once every 2 years, in whatever iteration it comes out on Steam or however they release it most recently. I will buy it again and again. I don't care. I will do it forever. But Fable 2, speaking strictly from story, really just felt like they handed me, a 14-year-old child, the reins and said, just write your favorite fan fiction. And I just went unmitigated. Like, I was just writing stuff, and they went, yep, it's in the game. Yeah, and Teresa's back. Yep. And she inexplicably keeps the spire at the end. Yep, it's already in the game. And you have to pick between your favorite best friend dog or all of civilization. Yep, that's in the game. Like, I don't know. It was just very fast, and there was a lot of random story beats that just they were not super enjoyable to me. It felt like if you would have called it a hero's journey instead of Fable 2 and just like changed some names, I would have had way more fun with it. But because I was like, it's Fable 2, it's what comes right after Fable. It doesn't feel like that at all. It feels like just like a cacophony of references to another game, and they're like, see, we're still that game. We're still technically that game. We referenced it. It's like watching a sequel anime. It's not the same.
You know? I agree wholly. I liked Fable 2. It was my introduction. I have yet to ever play Fable 1. But I have played Fable 2. I liked it quite a bit. And then I played Fable 3. And Mr. Molyneux, Mr. Peter Molyneux, if I find him, I'm going to fist fight him. Because this man has made one of my favorite games of all time when he worked at Bullfrog, called Dungeon Keeper. A real old game. Have either of you ever played it? Heard of it?
No.
No.
No. Dude, remind me to show you this game. It's fucking great. But Bullfrog got bought out by EA. It's one of the classic got bought out by EA, made to make garbage, and then disbanded because they made no money. They were one of the first casualties of that cycle. But then Mr. Molyneux went all out on his own. He had infinity money to make whatever he wanted, and he ended up making Fable fucking 3. Have you played it, Brian?
No.
Have you seen it? Do you know anything about it?
No.
All right, then I'm going to present this to you, because Matt, you mentioned you know a lot about it. I'm going to present this scenario to you. You're the descendant, I think the grandchild, of the protagonist from Fable 2, who ends up being the king of the Kingdom of Albion, right? This fantasy kingdom. Your character in Fable 2 is the king. Your grandchild is the player character of Fable 3. Your brother is the current king, right? They're older than you. And is a total dickbag. Everyone hates him. And eventually, one night, you're going to go to Giga Jail, but instead you escape with your confidant, who was also part of the court or whatever, and then you're going to go and form a revolution and take your brother down, because he's being an evil bastard, and that's a problem. And you go on this fun romp around the world where you get to meet the commoners and different kinds of people, and you get to build favor with them, and really set up what's going on to take down your brother, who's just a bastard. And then you do. Halfway through the game, you can kill your brother, which is what most people do. You can spare him, and he just kind of hangs around. But you're the king or queen now, right? Okay. Except your brother reveals that the whole time he's been a total bastard, because there's a secret evil big bad that's going to come and invade the kingdom. And if he doesn't prepare the kingdom, then he's not going to have enough money, and everyone's going to die. Now
What?
tell me, how... Yes, that's exactly what the fuck happens.
What?
I got so mad. And you ready for the solution? Because the game's fucking broken, right? While you're the king or queen, you're going to the ruler, whatever, monarch. You get presented with scenarios where it's like, hey, the local lake is really pretty, but the industrious guy wants to dump his sludge in it because we told him he's not allowed to do it in the city anymore because everyone's getting sick. So we'll make $1 billion or whatever if we dump it in the lake, but it'll make it really, really bad, and everyone's going to be sad about it. So which one do we do? There's no nuance. There's no, like, option to pick a new place or, like, build a sludge containment facility. It's either save the fairies or be an asshole. Those are your two options.
What?
And it's mind-boggling because the whole time you have 1 year to prepare for this big... And by the way, the big evil is a big black sludge. It's, like, just some gross... It's like so amorphous it doesn't matter.
It's a Captain Planet villain.
It's so bad.
Huh.
It's awful. So if you make all the terrible decisions, then there's no real consequences. The people just kind of hate you. But like you save all of their lives. Or here's the real solution. What you actually do is you buy all of the property, every single home in the game, and you jack them fucking rents up. And it goes to your personal coffers, and then you dump that in the treasury, and not a single person gets mad at you, and you will have more money. You just leave the controller sitting down, because while there's a year to wait, it doesn't count like in-game time. It counts like progress milestones. So like you'll do the lake thing, and then 2 weeks will pass, and you have to go do a different thing, and then 4 months will pass, and it doesn't tell you these skips are coming, by the way. So you could be prepared and accidentally skip 5 months to the end of the fucking game.
Oh,
Whoops! And it quite literally, you need this money to hire people to be soldiers. There's no option also to just look at your subjects. You are the monarch. Everyone listens to you and be like, hey, there's a big fucking evil sludge man coming. Here's a sword. We're going to train you for a year, and we're going to defend, and we'll get through this together. Not a fucking option. Nope, they'll only take cold hard cash. Fuck you. They're not trying if you're not paying.
They're on that grind set, dude.
Dude, but they also don't get mad if you like jack up the fucking rents on them. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Dude, I fucking hate this game. Oh, it's so bad. I have never like 180 because the first part of the game is genuinely a lot of fun. The gameplay is pretty fun. You get to choose between like a melee, stealth, magic style, and you get to put points here and there. There's some story bits that are kind of bad. That are like, hey, remember Fable 2? And they like nudge you, and it's a little on the nose and sucks. But the first half of that game is great. The second half is so bad, I want that game burned from everyone's memory. If I had a genie and I could wish, I would wish to delete Fable 3.
Jesus.
Yeah, if I had a genie and I had 3 wishes, my first wish would be a genie blowjob, and then the second one would be a second genie blowjob, and then the third one would be to increase world hunger.
Matt, are you
Nice.
all right? Like, do you need help?
Yeah, I'm good. No, I'm good. What were you saying? Something about a Fable or something?
Yeah, something about a Fable or whatever. All right. So I'm gonna bring it way back because you mentioned Elden Ring, and this got my little brain gears a turning. Credited to a lot of Elden Ring stories, Mr. George R.R. Martin, famously known for the Game of Thrones story. Matt or Brian, have either of you watched or what do you know about Game of Thrones? How familiar are you?
Wait, hold on. He made Elden Ring?
He's a credited writer with Elden Ring. A lot of the story he made.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's sick as fuck, by the way. But yeah.
People made fun of him because there were a ton of characters that had the first letter of their name were like George R, or like G, R, and M. So everyone was like, "Did you do this on purpose?" He's like, "No, that was not intentional. It would have been really cool, but no, that was not on purpose."
That's pretty good. I have seen all of Game of Thrones. I've not seen House of the Dragon.
I'm same.
Okay, so we're actually all on the same page. I have not watched any House of the Dragon. I'm gonna ignore right the what is it? Season 8 was the last season of Game of Thrones,
Yeah.
the one that everyone fucking hates. I'm gonna ignore that
Just ignore
because
the
I think
last
it's
3 episodes. It's fine.
because I'm not here to talk about how ruined that got, but moving
Uh-huh.
away from games into the TV show. It was so obvious when that show steered away from its source material. Because if you remember, what was it, like 2012 is when the show was like really popular. It was around like season 2 and 3.
I think
I have no
like
idea.
2014 was like peak. Like that's when it would have been running for a while. Like there were so many Blu-ray releases out. Like I think that's when it hit like its zenith maybe.
Yeah, but you guys remember that like zeitgeist around it where it's like, dude, they'll kill anyone. They killed my favorite character. I can't believe it. That whole style.
I do,
yeah.
but I also remember watching Attack on Titan.
Okay, fair. Well, we will get to that because I have that on the docket. But with Game of Thrones, I didn't watch it until it was like long after the hype because I actually started watching it when people were getting mad at season 7 and 8
Yeah, same.
because I'm like, okay, well, I need to know what the fuck this is on about.
I started watching it, or I watched it all in 1 year, I guess. But it was like probably 20. It was during COVID, so it was probably like 2020, 2021 was when I watched all of it.
Yeah, that's about right. So I was like 2019, I think, is when I watched it. But the main thing I'm going to get to, and I'm sure, Brian, you've got a lot of anime opinions on this for Brian and Matt, our resident weebs.
Yep.
But when that show strayed away from its source material, it was the most obvious thing ever. Because originally, there was all that hype of, like, they'll kill my favorite character, you can't get too attached. There are the popular ones, like, Tyrion or Jon Snow, the ones that get a lot of screen time people like a lot. But the moment Season 6 started, and the showrunners were just kind of writing whatever they had, and Jon Snow became the most generic fantasy protagonist with plot armor so thick that nothing could kill him, I completely lost interest. I was only watching it because I wanted to watch the train wreck that people were talking about at the end.
Yeah.
My favorite character for a long time was Jon Snow because I was so convinced that they wouldn't kill off Milquetoast. Like, it was just such a safe pick.
True.
I mean, for real, though. Because I think he does get, like, genuinely good development. But, like, in the first 2 seasons, he's a cracker. Like, he is carbs that exist in the show just for the sake of some things to happen.
Yeah, and every few seconds be like, "You're not the real stock." And like every few seconds, I was like, "All right, I get it."
Yeah, they beat that drum a fucking lot.
That show loves literal bastards.
Literally.
I mean, the Game of Thrones style politics are. I mean, we're going to be picking Game of Thrones DNA out of fantasy forever, just because so many stories want to be as complex and interwoven as Game of Thrones, and just can't.
Yeah, no.
But I don't know. How do you guys feel overall about that series? Just to get a base litmus test.
Overall,
Yeah, just like, do you like it? I don't know. Give it a rating out of 10.
out of 10, I give it a 7.
Yeah,
Matt,
I'd say
what
6
about
or
you?
7.
Yeah,
I
okay.
think I'm a sucker for big worlds full of tertiary characters.
Same.
However, there were so many times where like we would take such a large departure from the people I cared about, where I was like, okay, I know what was happening to them immediately wasn't super relevant, but like I mostly care about these characters. I don't really care so much for these characters. Like there were just so many main characters, and they were for the most part pretty integral. So like I can't be mad, but like I prefer like the anime style where someone shows up like Joey from Friends, tells 2 jokes, and gets the fuck out of there before I'm bored of them.
I see the last season, or rather, like specifically the last 3 episodes, ruined it so bad for me that it was a 9 down to a 7.
I don't think I had it as high up as 9, but I do agree, dude. Those last 3 were real bad.
They're fucked up. Like not Game of Thrones fucked up, just like regular, just bad fucked up. F.
Yeah, holy shit.
It was as bad as as season 9 of Scrubs.
You know, I watched a good bit of Scrubs, but I didn't. I just kind of watched it when it was on. Hit me. What was bad about season 9?
Matt, have you seen it?
I don't want to talk about it.
All right, we're talking about it.
I literally loved Scrubs. I
Same.
loved it so much. It was literally one of the most perfect shows ever.
Yep.
To jump in real quick, every episode of Scrubs, I was massively entertained, but I never really sat down and watched it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'll let you go. Hit me with it.
Okay, so to every real Scrubs fan, or avid Scrubs fan rather, there are only 8 seasons. We don't talk about season 9 because season 9 was a oh shit, this made a lot of money. We should try this again. Yeah, hit us with a time skip there, champ. Let's put the doctors in college, and then have them be teaching and stuff, except same shenanigans. And it was so bad, it got canceled mid-season.
Yeah, they tried to switch focus to a lot of the I don't remember what they were at that point, whether they were still interns or who the new blood.
Oh yeah,
they tried to shift focus to some of the new blood, but the new blood was only good because they played well occasionally off of the main characters, and they had so many resolutions that they kind of undid.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Okay, and I think I wouldn't have been as pissed off about season 9 if season 8 didn't end as to this day the best ending to a show I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's literally rank 1. If you had to give me fucking if you told me hey, top 5 shows that aren't anime related, Scrubs is number 1. And mostly because of the ending. The rest of the show, yeah, it's really good, pretty good. Yeah, blah, blah. It's a solid 8.5 whole way through. The ending sealed the deal as a 10 for me. And then season 9 happened. Yeah, so Scrubs for everyone else is a medical comedy / drama.
Yeah, I think it's comedy first, drama second.
Yeah.
There are genuine moments of real human pathos.
There are absurd, seemingly out of nowhere moments, and that I think that's the beauty of the show, because it's super funny. And you can sit back, relax, oh yeah, watch an episode of Scrubs, and then 28 minutes later you're in tears and you don't know why. You're how the fuck did you do that? You were my funny show. Oh, what happened? And then you're oh well, I'm gonna keep watching. And then you watch the episode and it's the really traumatic thing is still present, and then it kind of goes off a little bit, and then it's little jokes in there, and it gets lighthearted again, and then it hits you like a truck again. It's out of seemingly nowhere. And it does and the show does an excellent job of taking stuff that happened, like foreshadowing. The first couple seasons, they put a joke here that seemingly was nothing, and then seasons 7, 8, they addressed it, or they're hey, I finally did this thing you asked me to do 9 years ago, and it was oh fuck, so stuff like that. I love that little tiny shit that just seals the deal for me.
I think that Scrubs masterfully, I don't know who wrote it, but I feel like they went on to write some other stuff that I really like. Masterfully does the gut punch, where it is mostly a comedy. You're joking around, right? It's all silly gags. It might even be literal slapstick comedy where it's
oh yeah,
just some guy slipping, right? And then you get the emotional gut punch that most media that's trying to do that to you can't achieve.
Yeah, in one episode, a character will slip on a banana peel, a literal banana peel, and then that character or the rest of the episode will be did you put that banana peel there, to another character, and that'll just be their bit for the entire fucking episode. But in that same fucking episode, one of the doctors lost 8 patients, and they're suicidal now, and their wife left them, and meanwhile another couple is fighting. They're about to get divorced. Another couple's getting married, but they have to deal with their friends getting divorced, and all, what the one episode? What?
Oh yeah. How long were they? 44-minute episodes?
I legitimately don't remember.
No,
it was an hour long with commercials,
well,
right?
Yeah, probably
no,
not.
they were a half hour, so
Yeah,
22
okay.
with commercials.
Yeah.
Okay, so 22. Gotcha.
Yeah, they're normal length back then.
Yeah.
Boy, times
But
have changed.
no, I think that Scrubs is great at this. But I did tease it, and Brian, you've mentioned it a couple of times. I'm gonna hand the torch off to you too, because I've watched I would say a fair bit of anime, and I've enjoyed a lot of it. But I feel like when it comes to the source material argument, because pretty much all anime start as manga, correct?
Manga or a light novel.
Yeah,
Okay.
a lot of animation starts as the manga first.
Okay, because I want to dive into this. What's an example of one that you think pulled the Game of Thrones thing, where it starts to deviate and you can tell like immediately that it's not based on source material anymore?
Oh.
I have a cop-out answer.
All right, hit me.
Because it did it well. It got away from the source material well, and it's one you've seen. Full Metal Alchemist.
No, yeah, I was like the only one, I think.
There is like Full Metal Alchemist, the anime, and then there's Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which is like the manga made into anime. And I think both are masterpieces. I will watch both and enjoy both. But that's kind of my cop-out answer, because there definitely have been times where they'll translate source material from the manga and then just sort of deviate, and you're like, whoop, where'd we go? I didn't need the story to be exactly the same, but we are gone.
I've watched all of Brotherhood, but not all of the original Full Metal Alchemist. And of the dozen or so that I've watched, it is my favorite, and I feel like it's a pretty easy favorite for most people that watch anime.
Oh yeah, there's a reason it's rank 1 like on every anime list ever. And
it's some of the best media that's ever been made.
Yeah, and if you don't put it in your like as rank 1, like you're clickbaiting. Like what are you doing?
You're trying to make someone mad, or you're being an edgelord.
Yeah. It's like,
I guess those can be both the same thing.
Yeah, or
It's just like Bleach, okay, guys?
No, Matt, nobody likes Bleach. Okay.
It's just me, okay? They made the
I like-
last season for me.
I like Bleach. It's okay.
Okay, real shit, Brian. Have I
yeah.
ever mentioned to you the Bleach game that I stole from Ego Raptor?
What the fuck was that sentence? No.
Okay, so there's a game you play. It's called the Bleach game, where you take a random episode of Bleach deep into the series, because there's a fuck ton of them. You just pick one and you watch it, and as like a fun like drinking with friends sort of thing, you try to figure out what the fuck is happening.
Oh no.
You don't watch it because it can only work if you haven't seen it, right? Because if you
Right.
know what's happening, it's not fun.
Yeah.
But because they'll make references to things that happened 40 episodes ago, but you haven't fucking seen that shit. He's like thinking about his sister while he's getting his ass kicked by some guy who can bench press a skyscraper, I think. What the fuck? And then he
His
gets
power
powerful.
makes your toes go upside down, yeah.
Like, it's absolute nonsense if you don't know what's watching, and it's a lot of fun being absolute nonsense. But oh man, we need to play. I don't know. Have you watched Bleach? I guess it might not work on you, Brian.
I have not watched as much Bleach as there is available.
Fair enough.
I've watched, I think me and Matt like dove into it when I stopped watching it. I think it's episode like 40-ish, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something like that. And there's like what 300, 400 episodes.
Small amount.
Yeah. So yeah, no.
And I guess I should specify, whenever you're playing this game, the game only works if you are earnestly trying to figure out.
Of
like,
course.
yeah, it's fun to make
honor
fun
code.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the goal is you are genuinely trying to figure out what the fuck these idiots are talking about.
Dude. Yeah. Okay, that sounds fun as fuck. I remember very vividly, like just like doom scrolling Facebook like a few years ago, and then like a Bleach fight scene like showed up, but I didn't know it was Bleach, so I was just like watching it, and then 10 minutes in, I realized it was Bleach, and I was like, wait,
That's
what?
fucking hilarious.
I was like, wait, what? Wait, what? Who? What? How'd they get here? Wait, Bleach kept going? Wait, like, wait, what the fuck? So that was pretty funny. I watched the rest of the thing. It was like a 22-minute fucking video.
I mean, when your anime's that fucking long, you can imagine the fight scenes are pretty ludicrous.
Yeah, it was beautifully animated though. I just didn't. It was just so far from what I remembered that I couldn't recognize that it was Bleach. Which was pretty fucking funny at the time.
All right, Matt, as our Bleach watcher, our Bleach connoisseur, what's the verdict? Is it actually worth watching? Because I shit on it from a great height.
I think if you are just looking for like popcorn to eat while you're, doing something else, I think that could be a really good gap filler. Like, I think the English dub is very charming. So like you know, if you don't know Japanese, you can just kind of look away from the screen and only look over when it sounds interesting. But outside of one European who I am forcing to watch it,
Yeah.
I don't think it's like an average recommendation. But if you tell me you like shonen and you know you liked maybe One Piece or you liked Naruto, you're probably gonna like Bleach. As it turns out, the big three are big three for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. Just gonna say that.
So soft recommend. If you think you like the genre, you'll like it. If you don't like the genre, if you prefer like slice of life or sports anime or something, probably an easy pass.
I don't know, dude. I think sports anime are basically shonen.
A lot of them, yeah.
Brian, I know you've talked to me a lot about it in the past, and you've almost convinced me. Haikyuu is one of your favorites, right? The volleyball one.
Yeah. Yeah. Rank 1.
All right, so hit me with it. What's the appeal? Sell it to me right now.
As a normie.
Okay, I'll give you the context. I know I've already given it to you, but the anime that I've watched are Full Metal Alchemist. I've watched a lot of Dragon Ball. I've watched the 90s Berserk anime. I just finished Chainsaw Man with the hype with that, right? And stuff along those lines. Sell it to me.
Haiku is about a volleyball team in high school. They play volleyball. That's it. The selling point, the reason I like the show so much is that I everything about the show is perfect. Like they immerse you like it's like how could they possibly immerse you? It's about a volleyball high school team in Japan. Like how could you possibly immerse yourself in that? Like what the fuck is going on? They get you. Like the music is perfect. Like they do the music literally perfect. I can't stress enough how perfect their soundtrack is and how well they use it for the show. This show makes you care about every single character, including any of the silly ass teams that the main team plays against. You care about everyone. You care about them so much that you don't necessarily want the main team to win sometimes. And at least in sports anime, that's very, very weird. Like that never happens. Like you're normally like, okay, obviously this team's gonna win, and like the other team's gonna cry, but like fuck them, right? Like they're the bad guys. No. In Haiku, you like, it's generally like if any of these teams win, you'll be happy that they won and sad the other team lost. Like legitimately sad. Like to the point where the ending of some of the episodes where like one of the games finishes or whatever had me in tears because of the other team losing and like them like dealing with the fact that their high school volleyball career is effectively over. Like they're done. They're never gonna play volleyball on a team again because they're like that was their third year in high school and they're seniors now, so they're gonna graduate and this is their last tournament or whatever, and they're not good enough to be like professionals, so they're not gonna try to do that. And this is it. Like the game is over, right? The character progression for the main team is really cool. Without spoiling anything, it's simply just very interesting. Obviously, there are literally hours worth of things I could say about this show and how like perfectly it shows like character progression and like, but like really subtly. Like you can barely like there are points where you can't even tell like a character's progressing, and then you like because they're like maybe they're not like the main like 6 characters or the main 8 characters or whatever it may be, and the next thing you know they're a badass and you're like, wait a second, what? How'd that happen? How'd this person do that? And then you like you do a rewatch and then you notice them in the background like just trying as hard as everyone else, like if not harder, like little snippets of them like hey, you want to go do this thing? Like, no, I'm cool, I'm doing this thing. It's like, all right, cool, man. And turns out they're like practicing. It's like literally 3-second clip of them like hitting a volleyball against the wall or something. Like it's like that shit. And again, that's all I'm gonna say. That's my entire selling point because I don't want to spoil anything else.
Brian, I just remembered I have technically watched one sports anime.
Oh,
Uh,
Eye Shield.
nope, you're
All
not
right.
going to guess it, I promise you.
Okay.
Because it's barely a sport anime.
Okay.
I
All right. Yeah, never mind. You go.
I watched Air Gear?
You're right. I would not have guessed that.
What the fuck is an air gear?
Yeah. What?
To circle it back to the last thing you asked about, like, you know, an authentic or what's the word I'm looking for, faithful manga adaptation. I'm glad they stopped making Air Gear.
That's it for us on a Seriously Casual Perspective. Let us know what stories you love or hate in the comments. All the links to our socials are in the usual places, and thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Bye.
Goodbye!